not going to let anybody treat my family like that.
This is new at 5. The owner of a nonprofit food cart says enough is enough. After weeks of harassment and threats from protesters camped outside the ICE building in Southwest Portland, he says it's time to move on.
I have to move on. I've been in this house way too long.
This comes as the Occupy ICE movement enters into its 6th week camping at the South Waterfront. K2's Keaton Thomas is live there tonight. And Keaton, a lot of frustration out there, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the folks who live around here say that this has really just gone on too long. Same with the owners of the Happy Camper. It's a food cart here. They feel the same. And after dealing with what they say have been threats and harassment coming from protesters across the street, they're just saying that they can't take it anymore. Scott Hakes runs the nonprofit Operation Off the Grid with his wife, Julie. They help the homeless around Portland.
It's our passion due to the fact that Julie and I were both homeless in our past.
He owns the Happy Camper food cart, which raises money for their organization. But as of this weekend, it's closed. The primary reason, the neighbors across the street, protesters with Occupy ICE. Hakes says it all started when one of them began yelling at his daughter who was working the cart.
Do you hear them? They think I'm laughing at them.
Start screaming that my daughter is laughing at them, trying to make a mockery of them, everything that they believe in, and boom, away it went. We were on the #1 hit list from that point on.
He says they've threatened her too.
If they catch her outside the cart, they're gonna hurt her.
Which is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're lucky you're a white girl.
We're a business. Leave us out.
You know what? I'm not gonna let anybody treat my family like that.
Hakes says they harassed customers.
Absolutely, every day.
At one point, he says business went down 80%. Hakes says they don't want to be involved with the occupation, and that made them an enemy.
You know what, man? They got their agenda, I have mine. I serve the unfortunate.
He says he tried to speak with the protesters, but it never helped. One of the co-founders of the occupation talked with me off camera. He said if these threats and harassment actually happen, it's not something they condone, and it's against their code of conduct. Now Hakes is selling the cart for less than what it's worth. They want to move on, find another way to fund their organization, and continue trying to help the less fortunate.
The organization's going to continue on. Nothing's going to stop that.
Food cart owners say that they've called police multiple times about the threats. Police said that they don't have access to their full records right now because it's the weekend, but could confirm with us at least one report of a threat that came last month, along with some video of that. They say that they take these threats like this seriously and investigate them fully. We're live in Southwest Portland. I'm Keaton Thomas, K2 News.
It doesn't feel safe, and it's closing up shop because of protesters at Occupy ICE PDX. Now, those demonstrators have been camped outside the Portland ICE building since June, demanding an end to ICE all across the country. Well, right across the street from their camp is Happy Camper food cart. And today, the owner tells us he is shutting down for good because those protesters, he says, makes him and his family feel unsafe. He says some of the demonstrators even threatened his 21-year-old daughter.
That's not talking about the true protesters that come and visit every so often. The individuals that are making the most noise, unfortunately, are the ones that have made personal threats to burn our cart down at least 3 times.
The food cart helps fund the family's nonprofit, which provides meals to the homeless. And now we did reach out to Occupy ICE for comment on this, and we have not heard back.
The owners of a food cart in Southwest Portland say harassment from ICE protesters is forcing them to shut down. Thanks for sticking with KOIN 6 News. I'm Trevor Ault. The owners of the Happy Camper tell KOIN 6 the city did nothing to stop the threats that began after the Occupy protesters started camping across the street. KOIN 6's Jennifer Dowling now joins us with the impact that the protesters have had on this business. Jennifer?
Good evening, Trevor. This was an extremely frustrating situation for the owners of the Happy Camper. They said their business dropped by 80% after that harassment started. But it was the physical threats to their 21-year-old daughter that pushed them over the edge, and they decided to close. Julie and Scott Hakes say they opened the Happy Camper cart last April to fund their nonprofit Operation Off the Grid. It's an organization that prepares lunches and distributes them to the homeless along with clothing and tents. The couple says they were once homeless themselves. Ironically, they say a number of homeless people are staying in the Occupy camp where the threats are coming from. The couple says they support people's right to make their voices heard, but they blame the city for being unresponsive to their pleas for help to stop the harassment.
The threats are bad. My daughter was threatened multiple times, and we've just had enough.
There's true protesters over there that are passionate and they truly believe in what they're doing. They're not the ones that are beating on people and threatening people.
The couple sent us a pic that shows a protester holding a sign, there it is, next to a customer who was having lunch next to the cart, harassing customers. Scott said he tried to talk to the protesters at least 3 times, but they would not listen to reason. He said the main antagonizers didn't like the fact that they serve food to all customers, including workers and staff from the ICE facility. The Hakes say they will still work to help the homeless despite this setback. Scott says he'll have to sell his food cart at a loss, though. Back to you.
I just want to look at them though.